against Ireland. Now, you didn't have all your stars from the World Cup. You had Bill Ahmed in goal, the DC United goalkeeper. You didn't have Dempsey. You didn't have Michael Bradley and some other players and Julian Green and all of them. But you had a decent amount of your World Cup squad. Bedoya, Beckerman, Fabian Johnson, Matt Besler, Jeff Cameron. You had a decent amount of your squad. And I don't think this is a huge I don't think this is a result that's going to make everyone freak out. Well, it's going to make everyone freak out, but I don't think it's as significant as everyone thinks. It's going to be a tad overblown. Yes, it's a wake-up call. You can't just lose against 4-1 to Ireland on the national stage like this. However, I think it is going to be a little bit overblown. I don't think there's a huge crisis with this team. However, there's going to need to be adjustments made, and I think working together more in practice and getting your stars back in the lineup. Tim Howard not playing Spig. He's the leader of your team. He was the leader in the World Cup, as well as Clint Dempsey. However, for the rest of the team, you should have still put up a decent amount of competition against Ireland. It's a real shocking loss for me. However, I don't think it's a humongous deal that we should obsess over and fire Klinsmann for. I don't think that's the answer.
I agree with you on both respects of this. Yes, it's bad, but it's not time to push the panic button yet. In my opinion, I think the biggest problem here is that, look, you've lost the heart and soul of this team. We saw the way this team played against Belgium. We saw the way this team played against Germany. We even saw the way this team played against Portugal. The defense was smokescreened. Their weaknesses were smokescreened by the fact that they had an incredible goalie that was able to make up for all of their errors. And look, while Guzan is a solid keeper, he's not Tim Howard, and I don't think anyone will be what Tim Howard was in that game against Belgium. We will see. But 4-1 against Ireland, it's not good. Interesting stat, Josie Altidore committed 11 fouls in this game. The most for an Irish player was 3. Maybe that could be part of the problem, but it's a friendly. But fans won't be too friendly toward Klinsmann if we continue to lose like this. And with that, we will go over to Noah.
Okay, well, we are going to switch around power rankings and quick picks. We're going to go into quick picks right now, and we are going to start with Manchester United visiting Arsenal. Two teams that are in prime position, battling for that 4th spot in the Premier League. And this is a very, very big game in terms of teams jockeying for position right now. Arsenal's been struggling of late, slipping to 6th. A win by Manchester United would put them into 4th temporarily, depending on how West Ham and Swansea do, but they would surge above Arsenal. Meanwhile, if Arsenal wins, they could theoretically find themselves 1 point behind Manchester City. Of course, once again, it all depends on how the other results go. We'll start with Byron. Byron, as Manchester United visits Arsenal, who do you think comes out with the victory?
Well, these are both two teams that have a ton of talent and really should be at the top of this league, and I think by the end they will be near that level. As far as this matchup, though, personally, I want to go Manchester United's way because as a team, you put their attack together, Van Persie, Falcao, Rooney, that's a team that should win. And Arsenal, okay, they have Sanchez, they have Giroud, they have all this talent on the attack, but I think Manchester United is a step ahead. But in my opinion, I think I'm going to go 1-1 for this game. I feel like what's going to happen is it'll turn into a defensive game with attacks from both sides, but in the end, it will be a stalemate 1-1.
Okay. Jake, what do you think?
When it comes to Man U and Arsenal, yes, Di Maria has made a huge impact, but over this international break, Alexis Sanchez has really come through in a big way. Now he gets to come back to the Premier League and proves, if that hot streak will carry over. I believe it will, especially considering the injury now to Di Maria. 2-1 Arsenal wins at the Emirates. Yes, the Emirates.
Yes, the Emirates, Jake. 2-1, the final score for Jake.
Yes.
Byron, of course, going 1-1. Here's what I like to start with. Look, Arsenal hasn't played well. Neither has Manchester United. Both of them have been really disappointing. Arsenal's been the worst of the two over the past week or two. And I think Alexis Sanchez has been a big part of it. The big issue has been the defense. And, of course, Manchester United will not have Falcao probably starting. He's been having so many injury issues. Di Maria will probably start. From what we're hearing, it's a minor injury. I'm going to go with Manchester United here. I think they take advantage of their opportunities. Arsenal just seem to squander them. They seem to be squandering opportunities right now, and I think they squander another big chance against Manchester United in what could prove to be a pivotal game with the end of 2014 upon us. We'll see how that goes. Now on to the next matchup, and we have Sevilla visiting Barcelona. Two of the top teams right now in La Liga. Of course, Barcelona has struggled of late to win games, and this is another good team they're going up against. They really have struggled, but they are playing at home, and it's still Barcelona. We'll start with you, Jake. Who do you got winning this one?
Of our quick pick selections, it's not the main event, but it is a Spain event, and in terms of Spain right now, Barcelona is higher up than Sevilla right now, and then you consider you have to go into Camp Nou. Yes, Barcelona is second in the table, so I read that at the beginning of the show.
They are, yes, correct.
So at the end of this game, I do believe Barcelona will defeat Sevilla over all of this noise, and convincingly so. A 3-0 victory for Barcelona.
Okay, yeah, that would be a massive victory for them. This is what I'm going to say. They're playing at home, which is the biggest thing right now for them, that they're playing at home. But they're second place in the table. They're playing like a team that may as well be 10th in the table. Losing to some pretty poor teams. I mean, Celta Vigo is not bad, but once again, they are not one of Spain's elite, and you shouldn't be losing against them. Struggling against teams like Granada, struggling against teams like Almeria. This is a team that they barely won. They had to come back from 2-0 down to Almeria, a team that's 16th in the table. And that was in the 72nd minute. I think the big key is that they're at home, and I think that will end up giving them the win. But once again, I think this is going to be another game that casts a little bit of doubt over whether or not they are the team we expect to see. I'm going to go 2-1 Barcelona here. So we're over to Byron right now. Byron, in the end of the day, will it be Barcelona or Sevilla who comes out on top?
It'll be Barcelona, and the last few games have been very concerning, and Sevilla's a much better squad than the teams that Barcelona has lost against. However, at the end of the day, Barcelona just got a huge wake-up call. They have the much better talent than Sevilla all around. They have no excuse losing to those other teams. And even Sevilla, which is a better team, they don't have any excuse to lose to them either. I think Barcelona is going to come away with a win, but barely. Like Noah, I'm going to go 2-1, like I always do with every single quick pick.
That is his trademark score. I've actually gone 2-1 on both of my games thus far, and now starting to feel uncomfortable about that. Maybe that'll change with the next one. And before we get into the next pick, quick update on playoffs. But first, Jake has something to say.
I just want to point something out quickly. Top teams have their struggles. We saw it from Real Madrid at the beginning of the year, and they've seemed to rebound just fine, and I think this is sort of the perfect opportunity for Barcelona to do the same and bounce back. I know it'll be tough for you to admit that, no, as a Real Madrid fan, but look, Real Madrid and Barcelona, they're still the 1-2 punch.
It has nothing to do with Real Madrid. The fact is that they're doing it at the wrong time. They're doing it in the middle of the year. This isn't early season jitters. This is middle of the season jitters, which is something that's a lot harder to rebound from. Real Madrid, it was a new group coming together, and this has been my big issue. I personally, I think it was a big mistake to throw Suarez into the fray like that and just mix them all together. It hasn't worked. That was a mistake. They were playing well. I think that if they had eased Suarez in, they would have done a lot better. But once again, they have yet to play Atletico Madrid once. Real Madrid, they already had to deal with Atletico and Barcelona. They got 2 of those tough 4 games out of the way. Barcelona still has 3 more to go. That's where Real Madrid got a little bit of an advantage. But I do believe Barcelona will bounce back, and they're still one of Europe's elite. let's go on to the next quick pick, and we are going to go to the MLS Cup. Here's a quick update. The FC Dallas beat Vancouver in the knockout round to advance to the quarterfinals. The Red Bulls beat Sporting Kansas City as well to advance to the quarterfinals. Then in the Western Conference semis, we had Seattle defeat FC Dallas, and the Galaxy defeat Real Salt Lake with an astounding 5-0 win in the second leg. The Revolution defeated the Columbus Crew 7-3 on aggregate. Both of your teams going through. The Fire did not make the playoffs. Woo! Go Chicago. DC United, the first seed in the East, couldn't get the victories. The Red Bulls advanced 3-2. So we've got Revolution Red Bulls right now, but the pick we are focusing on is the first leg of the MLS Cup semis, or the Western Conference Championship. The Seattle Sounders against the LA Galaxy. They played at the end of the year to decide who would win the Community Shield, and at the end of the day, it was the Seattle Sounders. But the Galaxy have their chance for revenge now, and this should be an absolutely terrific matchup. So let's start with the LA native, Jake Liker. Take it away.
This is what happens when you take away my Spurs from me. I start to regain a lot of self-confidence because I'm not waking up at 5:30 in the morning to watch us lose to Stoke, get it together. So I'm watching Red Bull versus DC United, and I've been introduced to the wonder that is Bradley Wright Phillips. I guess I'm into the MLS playoffs right now. LA Galaxy, Seattle Sounders, these two, MLS Cup, not that into it, I guess. LA Galaxy, Seattle Sounders, these two teams do not like each other. And in that game for the Community Shield, while Seattle didn't win that game 2-0, if you look at the statistics, Los Angeles did dominate for the first 80 minutes. They just couldn't score. They need to find a way to get past it. And I do think that in this first leg, at home at the StubHub Center, the Galaxy will find a way to break through. 2-1 Galaxy win.
That would be a big win. Now over to Byron. And while this isn't the New England Revolution, it's still a big game. Who you got winning?
Personally, I've watched the Sounders for most of the season, and I'm going to ask a question first. Is that, is this a home game?
This is in LA for the first leg.
Okay, now that's a little bit of a game changer because, as you all know, the Seattle Sounders average about twice the amount of fans as the second highest team in the MLS in terms of fan attendance, so that's a huge factor. But I'm going to go Seattle Sounders anyways, and I'm going to tell you why. This team all around, I think talent-wise, is the best in the entire MLS. Not just from the young superstar DeAndre Yedlin, Clint Dempsey, Obafemi Martins, I was blanking on his name for a second. And all around, this team works together. They're talented. They can pull off these tough wins. And I think they have a very good shot of winning this game. Landon Donovan, if he loses this is his last game. He's gone. And he's definitely going to fight for it, and so is the rest of the Galaxy. But I think Sounders come away with the win 3-1. Yeah, I'm going to keep it 3-1. And I think the Galaxy come back next game. Could I be wrong? Probably, and I probably will be. However, I think in the end of these two games, Sounders will take it, even if they lose the first one. And then it'll be Sounders, Revolution win. Let's go.
The bias is real. Jake, you had a comment?
Well, this technically isn't, even if the Galaxy do lose this game, this is not Landon Donovan's last game.
That's his last series.
His last series.
Last
He's on
series.
his last leg. Well,
Here's what I'd like to say. The Galaxy are good. They have very talented players. But this is, I've got to say, the Sounders are one of the most talented MLS teams I've seen. Clint Dempsey, Brad Evans, former Chicago Fire player Jaleel Anibaba, repping Chicago. Osvaldo Alonso, or Ozzy Alonso, Obafemi Martins. You've got so much talent. You go down the list. DeAndre Yedlin, who'll be making his move to Spurs. You've got Chad Marshall as well. Lamar Nagel, Kenny Cooper. It's full of talent. And it's hard to see this team losing. They're playing in LA. And this is going to make it really tough. But I think they put themselves in position by drawing this game 2-2. They go back home. They've got the home crowd behind them. We'll probably have a quick pick for that as well.